Who are you?
Who am I? I am Terrence Ross Jacques.
Terry Jacques.
That's me.
And right off the bat, Terry Jacques, I was curious. Do you have a suit that was custom made for Hendrix?
How do you know this stuff? That's weird. Yeah, no, it wasn't made for Hendrix. It was made for Keith Richard, and I bought it in Soho, and it's purple leather with fringes and everything, but it was too big for him, and it just happened to fit me at the time because I was I was lighter in those days, and it's on the back of a CD with Poppy Family thing of me wearing it, and I wore it on stage sometime. But it's a purple leather. It's really cool.
Did the Poppy Family keep the Beatles off the charts in New York?
Yeah. You know a lot of stuff, don't you? This is weird. Usually I get the same old questions. Which Way You Going, Billy kept the long and winding road out of number 1 on ABC New York.
I want to ask you about your early band, The Chessmen, right here. What do you remember about this, Terry Jacques? Rodeo a Go-Go with The Chessmen.
Unbelievable. Where did you get this? This is so weird. This was in... That was in Williams Lake. Oh, golly. We had beer bottles thrown at us. And I remember our drummer at the time, he used to be Ted Lewis, and then he changed his name to Durris Maxwell. And we were in this little hotel, and there was all these guys sitting down on the sidewalk with hats on and all that. And we'd been drinking a little bit ourselves, and I had a fishing rod. So Ted Lewis at the time, and I got my fishing rod down, and I was hooking it onto their hats and bringing their hats up from the sidewalk. But this was a crazy place in those days. Williams Lake, rodeo?
Rodeo a Go-Go.
Where did you get this?
The treasures from Neptoon Records, where we are right now. And another question for you, Terry. This particular gig in Esquimalt with your band, The Chessmen. There you are, The Chessmen. Can you point yourself out to the people?
Oh, there I am. Yeah. We all look the same. No, that's me right there. Oh, they've got The Way You Feel. It's supposed to be The Way You Fell.
It's nice they did some promotion, though.
It was The Exciting Sounds of the Chessmen. Boy, that's a long time ago.
Touring with the Chessmen, your first band. Do you remember playing in Nashville at all with the Chessmen?
Ooh, wow. No, we went down there and recorded. We recorded 2 singles down there. I was a good friend of Brenda Lee and her manager, and they got us a contract with Mercury Records. So we did 2 records down there. It was great. We'd all sleep in one room, and there were cockroaches. I'm not kidding. They were 4 or 5 inches long. I've never seen cockroaches like this. So we found the holes where they were coming from.
And you put shaving cream.
Now, how do you know that? Who do you talk to?
Well, you're Terry Jacques. We have to know.
Holy cow, okay. And we clogged the holes with shaving cream, and they'd come right through there. And we'd see a cockroach with shaving cream on its back. But who told you that?
You're Terry Jacques. We have to know. I was curious, though. The Poppy Family playing in Detroit. Do you remember a gig in Detroit where there was a gunman on the roof?
This is the strangest interview I've ever done. I don't know how you know this stuff. I mean, I should have put this stuff in the booklet, some of this stuff, because it's kind of interesting, funny. I even forgot about it. Yeah, we were playing in Detroit. We had a number 1 record, CKLW, at the time. And so we crossed the border, and we're in the U.S., and it was outside. And there was thousands of people there. And we were quite a white group, and it was a black audience. And this one guy jumps onto stage, and he had a gun. He wasn't going to shoot us. I don't know what he was doing. But, yeah, I remember that. It was scary. Because I figured, we aren't a blues group. We're kind of a soft rock group, This was the Poppy Family.
Terry Jacques, I want to ask you about this picture by Alex Fine. Can you tell the people what is going on here?
Holy cow. Wow. This is supposed to be a picture of me, I guess, and this looks like...
Could you explain to the people what is going on here, perhaps?
This? Well, I've never seen this picture, but this looks like Kurt Cobain.
It is.
Is it? And this looks like it's supposed to be me. And I'm trying to figure out who this is.
And that's Jacques?
Jacques Brel? Is it really?
Yeah, because if you turn it over, what do you see?
Wow. Wow. Isn't that unbelievable? Holy cow. Well, Seasons in the Sun was originally called Le Moribond. It was about a dying man. And it was written by Jacques Brel, and it was in French. And it was a funny song. It was done in a march tune, like dum 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 dum. And it was about a dying man who was dying of a broken heart because his best friend was screwing his wife. And he was saying, oh, he's dying of a broken heart. He said goodbye to his best friend. He said goodbye to his priest and his unfaithful wife, Francois. And but it was a tongue-in-cheek song. And Jacques Brel, I became friends with Jacques Brel. I ate dinner with him and all. You know, he just before he died, actually, about a year and a half before he died in Paris. I ate with him in Belgium, actually, in Brussels. And so the record was translated, I think, by Rod McEwen or something, with the same words of this old man dying of this broken heart. Jacques Brel, by the way, wrote it in a whorehouse in Tangiers. You probably knew all this because you know everything. Anyway, and so when I had something in my life, I don't want to get into that, really something that I could relate to and personal about, I thought like, wow, what about a young person, you know, like who's dying, and in that time it was leukemia, and because there were no bone marrow transplants in those days, 45 years ago. So he was actually dying, and you know, and I was told by him that he was going to die, and I couldn't believe it. But he died 4 months later. I thought he was going to, you know, he thought he had 6 months, and he had to tell his father and his girlfriend. So I rewrote the song, changed some of the melody, and but I wanted to keep it in a happy rhythm because it was such a downer song. And so I did Seasons in the Sun, and I started it off with I didn't know how to start it off. I wanted to do a hooker line. And I had my acoustic guitar, and I was just sort of whamming it. I was going blom, blom. And there were two open strings. It went blom. And I said, oh. And then I went up on the second fret. On the A string, I went blom, blom, blom. And then I just played an A chord, blom. So it went blom, 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 blom. And I said, man, that would sound good on my telly with a little bit of vibrato on it. That would be really neat because it sort of sets this mood for the song. And then I'll double it with a electric bass, you know, with lots of treble on it, something, and try and get a sound. Yeah, I thought it would be a good intro, a good little thing to set the song up. So that's all that. I probably said too much, did I? Or?
No, that was amazing. But maybe you could tell the people what exactly is going on here in this amazing Alex Fine illustration. Maybe you could say your interpretation, Terry Jacques.
This is Jacques Brel, through spirit almost, whispering to me about the song. And then Kurt Cobain, unbeknownst to me, I got an interview. You've probably heard it. It's one of his last interviews by these two girl disc jockeys out of Washington, D.C., and in it he said that the first single he ever bought was Seasons in the Sun, and it used to make him cry. And then this is Kurt Cobain, you know, and you wouldn't think that was it. And so I'm probably whispering to him or something. They recorded the song eventually, but it was sort of weird words and everything. I think it was on their last album, was it? You'd know more than I do.
It was on the box set.
Yeah, it was something like that, but I had heard it, and it was really weird. And then he said, also on the interview, he said that one of his songs, "Come as You Are," is that it, or is "Come as You Go"? What is it?
Come as You Are.
He said, yeah, I sort of got an idea from Jack's, borrowed the sort of bomb, part of like the Seasons, bomb, bomb, and Where Evil Grows, another song I'd written, bomb, 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 bomb. So it was combination, blah, 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 blah. It was sort of, he said, I put those together for the sort of the rhythm or something in that song, Come As You Are.
I actually interviewed Chris Novoselic of Nirvana, and he actually said, quote, Terry Jacques rocks. And I noticed you've been doing a lot of blogs, Chris. You mentioned Black Flag and stuff, but you haven't mentioned your favorite Canadian of them all, Terry Jacques and Seasons in the Sun.
Oh, man. You know what happened? Like, as DJ Kano and a music fan, I'm always like digging through the bins looking for records. And guess which record I found? My hands were trembling. I collect political records. Like I found a Spiro Agnew record. I found a Golda Meir record. But when I found that Poppy Family record, I was so stoked. with Terry Jacques. Which way you going, Billy? Do you know that tune?
I do know that tune, and I also know Seasons in the Sun that you played guitar on it. People can see you playing guitar on.
Seasons in the Sun, Terry Jacques. Yeah, man. Terry Jacques rocks.
So whose idea was Seasons in the Sun? Was that Kurt or was that you?
I don't remember whose idea it was.
Because you've said over the years that Kurt really wasn't into the covers as much as you. Like, you knew the tunes. So are you responsible for Seasons in the Sun?
I have no idea.
Because this is a big deal in Canada.
Kurt had that single when he was a kid. And he told me about the B-side. And he goes, there's a song about a dog dying called Put the Bone In.
There's no blood and bone.
Something like that. And it was a B-side to Seasons in the Sun.
Oh, amazing. Okay, well, I guess Terry Jacques does deserve respect then, because there's all these articles about Terry Jacques, and they always talk about how Kurt Cobain loved Seasons in the Sun, but it's good that he also loved the B-side as well.
Well, because that's the holistic way to do it. It's the whole package, man.
Wow. That's funny. Like I've sort of always done soft rock type thing, and these guys are sort of what do you call them? Grunge, what do you call them? What did they call them? So,
summed up there, grunge meisters.
And so it's funny that he would like stuff I did, and like, you know, if you ask who my favorites are, well, I love Little Richard and I love Jerry Lee Lewis, you know, and they don't relate to the type of stuff I do at all. I'd love to be like those guys, but, you know, I was born with a certain voice, so I utilize my voice and my writing to the way I can.
They do love your music, though, because, quote, all I know is there's a better song on the B-side of the Seasons in the Sun single called Put the Bone In, Kurt to MTV 1983.
Wow.
1993.
Holy cow. Yep, Put the Bone In.
I guess what I'm curious is, what is Put the Bone In about, and what do I want it to be about?
Okay, Put the Bone In. I wanted to put something on the flip side of Seasons in the Sun that was so bad that it wouldn't get any airplay, because previously I'd had a number one record called Concrete Sea, and, you know, I was getting airplay, split airplay in all different, you know, and it hurts the A-sides. So I'd written this song, a double entendre song called Put the Bone In, that goes, you know, put the bone in, she asked him at the store, 'cause my doggy's been hit by a car, and I do want to bring him home something. Put the bone in, she begged him once more. And it's sort of, and it was, you know, I said, okay, we're going this. So I got a couple musicians together, and I was hanging around with some of the Canucks at the time, and we got all pissed up and I says, well, before you guys come in and sing background in this thing for me. So
the Vancouver Canucks are on background vocals for Put the Bone In?
Yes, if you hear those, you know, every time I say Put the Bone In, they go, Put the Bone In.
What Canucks?
Oh, man, there was Dunk Wilson. Who were the other guys? Was it Schnell and Schneps or something? I can't remember.
Harold Schneps.
Yeah, I guess, anyway, there was four. I don't know. There might even been more. We were drinking. But anyway, and then they were going some woo, woo in the background. And the funny thing is, the drummer who played on Seasons in the Sun, Cat Hendricks, he played and Put the Bone In too, but he never heard it. Like, it was a first take. So he, you know, just played. I just sort of played the rhythm, and I says, okay, that's it, let's go. So he just sort of played along with it. And at the end, when it was all over, you know, I left this on. It's actually on the CD because I thought it was funny. He goes, oh, no. Because he'd never heard the song before, and he was listening in his earphones as he was playing. And so I left that on. It's the last thing on the whole album. Anyway.
And that band Soul Asylum actually covered it. They covered Put the Bone In.
Oh, great. Okay.
I got confused because I thought when I was interviewing Chris, he was talking about there's no blood in bone, but he was actually speaking about Put the Bone In. You love the bone expression. There's no blood in bone.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, you're right. I don't want to get into that.
How profitable is it, Terry Jacques, to be on a Nirvana box set?
How profitable? I don't know. Like, Seasons sold so much. I was never...
But I guess I was curious. You must have got some money from the Nirvana box set. I guess for future songwriters, if they end up on a Nirvana box set, what could they possibly expect?
Well, you won't believe this, but I didn't take any... I didn't have a lawyer in those days. I was 29, 30 years old when I did Seasons. and the money was pouring in because it went so big. It went 12 million the first year and 14 million the next. And I just I didn't get any credit for writing, and I wrote. Jacques Brel said I should have got a third of it. So that's the way it goes. If I would have got a lawyer, and I could have easily got it because he would have okayed it. But so it didn't matter anyway. I find the less I got, the happier I am.
Terry Jacques, you like barnyard animals, don't you?
I like animals. My daughter just qualified for the Brazil Olympics.
That's what I want to ask you about, Terry. The barnyard animals on the back of this record right here, Poppy Seeds, if you could just hold this for a second. What exactly is going on here? I heard that to take this photo that you guys had to massage the bull's balls and also pat the asses. And I noticed there are no hands visible. There's a hand missing there. So what is going on here?
Who told you this? That is absolute bullshit if you want to get into it. This is an interesting cow. This is a Highland.
What is your hand doing?
Gosh, my hand. I don't know what my hand is doing. My hand is just probably. I don't know. Maybe I'm holding his tail down so he won't do anything. I don't know. But no, I had a ranch up in Pemberton Meadows, and this isn't on the ranch. This is on the Sunshine Coast.
Amazing shot, though. And off the Poppy Seeds LP, I love the back cover. It's amazing there, Terry.
Yeah, it is a strange one.
Terry, have you been confused with anybody? Bill Clinton?
There's a story that'll blow your mind. I don't know where you got this story. Before my mom died, I'd taken her down to Le Conner, the Tulip Festival. And, I just wanted to spend some time with her. She still was able to get around and stuff. So we went down there and we went to this little place, this restaurant. And it was a nice restaurant, funky restaurant and everything. And, I had a suit on. My hair was much shorter. And I go in there with her and I just said, can you get us a nice seat? Oh, of course, And they were just really nice to me and all that. And I had no reservations or anything, so I got a great seat, a whole, seat for 6 people, and they put me there, and they're smiling. Anything you want, we can make up special stuff. And I said, God, this is quite the restaurant. And
the power of Seasons in the Sun.
Well, no, wait till you hear this. So then we're sitting down, and everything goes on, and it didn't occur to me till halfway through the dinner, like when the head guy who owned the restaurant came along. He says, "Well, would you mind if I called you Bill?" They thought I was Bill Clinton. Okay, now what do you think of that?
Boom!
Boom!
Thank you, the Beach Boys. Thank you to Beach Boys.
Beach Boys are great. Oh, golly, I was down there producing them, after when Brian was having all that trouble, with his ear, and then he was into some stuff that he was screwing him up. And Carl and Al Jardine, they'd asked me to come down and produce them. And I said, what an honor, man. Like, wow. I was the only other guy besides Brian who'd ever produced them. So
thankfully, they said no, too, to Seasons in the Sun.
Well, they didn't say no. It never got finished.
Thank you, it didn't get finished.
Well, thank you, it didn't get finished. Yeah, thank you, I went and did it myself. But it was, I worked so hard on it, but it was a horror scene working down there because they all had little spats between them. And, Mike Love would be in there in a guru outfit on a watermelon fast with some young chick. And other guys Dennis was hanging around out in the desert with the Manson group and all the girls, and he came home and his windows were all broken once. I was putting voices on, one at a time, and then Brian didn't want to sing the high part, and he sang the high part the best. So the engineer would take the tape home, and I got such a mess because, I'd put so much energy into this because I thought, like, wow, the Beach Boys were like as big as the Beatles at that time in the U.S., and this was such an honor. And, but I'd been, I'd had a few hits with other people, and, they knew that I liked their stuff, and they liked the work I'd been doing. So that's why they had me down, I guess. But I just couldn't finish it. I just went home, and I was a nervous wreck. I literally was stumbling. I mean, I was just... Did
you get to stand in the sandbox at all?
Oh, yes. The sandbox. I walked through Brian's long, long refrigerator, which was the length of the room. He showed me through that, and then he'd have to take off to his...
What was in the refrigerator?
Everything. And then he'd take off to his little shack where he was selling organic vegetables, probably the first guy in North America to sell organic vegetables. Like he was getting off on that. And then, there was a lot of things going on in that house. Yeah.
I noticed
The
that.
sandbox, yeah, you know the sandbox, but the cat was crapping in it all the time. The piano was in the sandbox. And,
So that's true. That really actually existed.
yeah.
Couldn't they get the cat out of the sandbox, or was it just too much of a
They
temptation?
would hide the stuff on the end of the sand, I guess, but I don't know. Maybe they had somebody clean it up. I don't know. I remember being in the swimming pool too, and you couldn't see who was at the other end of the swimming pool because the swimming pool sort of went halfway around the house. And I remember the cars parked in the lot. I mean, there's like a Aston Martin, a Ferrari, a Bentley, a Rolls Royce, and somebody wanted to get one of the cars out, and they're all sort of jammed in. Those guys were making so much money. The decadence was just overwhelming for me. Like I like to be up my my big ranch up north and in Canada or up on the water. I couldn't take that feeling down there.
Bring a pillow. What's the deal with bringing a pillow?
We called them sock hops because we weren't a dance band. We sort of, like when I found the name the Poppy Family, it's actually in an Oxford dictionary. It says Poppy Family. And I thought, wow, that's unique. Poppy with the word family. And it said a varied species of flowering plant. And I said, wow, we were playing a variety of music. I'm going to get back to your answer for your question in a second. But we were playing a varied, we were playing so a little bit folk, a little bit country, a little bit pop, a little bit rock, and so I like the idea of Poppy Family. It was a varied, and we were in the middle of the sort of the psychedelic era, lots of dope and all this kind of stuff, and so Poppy fit in there perfect. Plus the area of the flower child, so we've got the poppy, and and family, like Susan and I, we got married for a while, and so and it was just the perfect name. And I says, that's the name, the Poppy Family. So when we went around, people wanted to hear us because, we were getting some hit records, but they didn't know what to do. So we just said, hey, bring a pillow. And we used to play at noon hours and after school and stuff. And they'd go to the gymnasium and they'd sit down on their pillows. So we call them, what do we call them?
Well, I was curious, Terry Jacques. We have right here, bring a pillow. What can you tell the people about these particular gigs that were happening? Bring a pillow, bring a pillow.
Yeah, we call them pillow hops. Instead of sock hops, sock hops where the group would be, everyone would be jumping around, jiving. Well, ours was a pillow hop. And
So much pillowing, so much pillowing here.
Believe this. I don't believe this. I never even saw these.
All right, well, thanks so much, Terry Jacques. Keep on rocking in the free world and do.
Bom 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 bom. Go. Okay. Am I out of this one? Okay.